Welcome back to Mycreativechroniclife, and today we are back with another episode from the Analogue Hour. And today I am back with another episode of the Analogue Hour. We are doing a little colouring in session. So as always, I talk about the pens I'm using. Today I decided to go for the 24 Steadtler set. If something isn't broke, why fix it? And I thought we could finish off our Let's Celebrate episode 5, which is the present. I hope you have all been well. As usual with the Steadtler set, they do have numbers on them, but pretty generic, pink, greens, blues, that type of thing. And I feel like that this has really made me enjoy colour. I will start off with the yellow for the stars, and I'll go with this yellow. So I hope you've been doing well, and I hope you've been enjoying the end of summer. I think by the time you see this, we will be in September, because sometimes with my colouring videos, if I have something kind of new to share in terms of other things, then my colouring videos tend to take a little bit of a back burner. I do love this really nice lime green, so I will take that. I don't use it often enough just to fill in the other bits, so you'll probably be seeing that then. But I hope you've had a lovely summer, and if you're like me, you're probably starting to switch over from your summer clothes to your winter clothes. Or maybe is it still too early? Is it wishful thinking? I feel like we had a really good summer in terms of heat, but we didn't have as much rain. And then in the last week, well, the last couple of weeks of August, the rain has just completely come out of nowhere. I'm going to go with orange for the large bow. I'm going to keep it one colour rather than two. I myself, have been unwell, so my summer has been at home, and I'm glad, because what it means is then I've been using the fan and been able to stay cool at home, which has been fun. I did have a whole thing planned this year. I did think that I would be doing X, Y, and Z, but sometimes plans change, and that's okay, and sometimes that's how we have to kind of go with the flow. How have you been getting on? I would love for you to tag me across social media if you are doing this colour along with me for this Let's Celebrate series, because I would love to see what colours you're using. Or I know that sometimes you can be a little bit shy and maybe not want to leave a comment or not want to reach out, which I completely appreciate it, but I would love for you to leave a comment, and I would really love if you could reach out and maybe have a little chat, have a little conversation. I'm going to go back in with the brown just to do the middle part of the bow and try and just add a little bit of shadowing with one colour. I would love to hear from you and start up a conversation in the comments section. I almost forgot about this part of the bow, so we will go back. I'm going to go a tiny little bit milder. And we'll go back in with that brown just to give it a little bit of depth. What else have you been doing this summer? Do you have any plans for the winter? Is there anything specific you like to do over the autumn months? I know I've seen so many people's bucket lists and wish lists for like certain types of coffee, baking, that type of thing. I think for myself, I think I would just be really quite happy if I had my surgery and I was recuperating. I feel like that's really all I could ask for. I'm going to go in with this lighter blue because I feel like them colours would work well with the orange. I feel like that's probably the majority of what I would really want for my autumn and winter, is to just have had my surgery, recuperate, and then start my year a little bit better off, and maybe, fingers crossed, found a better place to live that gives me a little bit more independency. I think they're probably the two things that I would wish for towards the next end of, this year and the following year. Just going to go over where the circle parts are, just make it a little bit more depth. Doesn't that look really pretty? It's a shame because sometimes my camera really likes to zoom in on the colours and then other times it doesn't. Now, for the sake of a little bit of cohesiveness, I thought maybe I would add in a little bit of blue just to this tag here. And if you think already that the year is almost coming to an end, I can just barely think that I was probably making New Year's resolutions and deciding that I would do this for my colouring journey and I would do that, but unfortunately sometimes life has other plans. Just going to shadow in the bottom of the box and kind of where the other elements touch, only because it's a larger box and I feel like it needs it. And with colouring as well, when I do the shadows, I'm not neat about it. Just gives it blends in a little bit easier. Okay, so we will do, I think, pink for the icing on the cake again. And then we will do pink for the bow, just to kind of add in a little bit of cohesiveness between the different images, but also because when you're gifting, you normally either match the card or the wrapping paper. I mean, I do anyway. I do a whole thing sometimes. This series has really reminded me of birthdays and how fun birthdays are. I personally don't enjoy birthdays. I feel like I'm too old and I feel like it's just not for me, and I think to myself, well, maybe another year. And I feel like for kids it's always so much fun, and I feel like for kids you should definitely go all out, because as a child I remember having lots and lots of memories. I'm just trying to think what would go nice with the pink. I've got some red. Let's go with the red and see what that looks like. Maybe I could go stripy. Yeah, let's go stripy and see what that looks like. So I feel like as birthdays it should be, lots of fun for the kids because it is nice. I mean, personally, for presents, I feel like children, it's nice to have presents, but I prefer to either give them something of value that they will be able to keep, and more often than not, it would definitely be something they can use long term, or things of need like clothes or shoes, for example, that will do them, or a winter coat that might be not for right now, but they will be able to, and it just saves on that expense from their parents, rather than just buying toys and then within 6 months they're bored of them toys. So I feel like overall buying gifts should be either of monetary value, and if that's not something that you want to do or you don't feel like that's part of what feels good. I'm just trying to think for this background. I might just go with the green that we used before, just to tie it all in. Then things that they will use, because there's going to be a majority of you know, friends and people like that will probably buy them toys. So then the family should think, okay, well, instead we'll give them a 6-month voucher for buying clothes at a certain store, and then they're able to use that in that store throughout the year, or put it as like a gift card. And then let's say the child really wants a toy or something, they can use that. Like for my niece, I gifted her a year's supply of books, but the catch was dependent on how much she read. So if she read 3 books and she finished 3 books, then she could go get more, but it was dependent on how much she read. So all in all, she didn't make quite good use of the offer, but I think I'm going to repeat the same, because I think this year she's really getting into reading. Like something like that would obviously be important. Just being able to say, okay, I will buy you books throughout the year, rather than having a limitation of limit. You could limit it to £50 or £60, for example, or £20 or whatever, and say, okay, when you finish your book, you let me know and we'll order you a new book. And that way then it encourages the child to read, but also it's a gift that they get all year round and it's fun for them. And I feel like that's always a good way to go. Let me know if you've reached this far. Let me know your thoughts about gifting, and what do you prefer to gift children of any age. Doesn't have to be like small babies. And do you prefer to give monetary gifts? Is it a physical gift? Do you do something like I did, where you purchase something throughout the year? Or is it just as simple as putting money in a card and then letting their parents decide? So that is the end of this colour along with me. Even with a little bit of shading and a little bit of chatting, it doesn't take quite as long, does it? And I will specify that my hands are currently not cramping up, which I feel like that always helps when it comes to me colouring in a little faster. So what do you think of that? Isn't that gorgeous? Really pretty. Well, thank you so much for joining me. If you have any questions, leave them in the comment box below. And of course, you can always find everything related to My Creative Chronic Life on my website at www.mycreativechroniclife.co.uk. You can find me over on YouTube Mondays, Thursdays and Saturdays. Thank you so much for watching. Until next time, bye bye.